Monaco, home to royalty, casinos, and of course tax evasion. And once every year, they host the world's biggest car park convention. Unless it rains, in which case the whole thing turns into an M. Night Shyamalan movie with all sorts of twists and turns. Wait, Billy Clay was international terrorist and beer bombs thief Hans Gruber this whole time? Outside of those rain-soaked moments though, the Monaco Grand Prix can only be described as boring, pedantic, and not fit for modern F1. When 19 of the drivers spend their whole race staring at this, which is not so bad, am I right, fellas? Despite this, I'm still one of the minority that thinks Monaco belongs on the F1 calendar. The glitz, the glamour, the history, and the location is what makes F1 the sport that it is today. But we'll come back to the rich and famous later, because there is one aspect of the Monaco race weekend that I do think is the best on the calendar. Quali at Monaco is probably the most important of the year, with there being basically no overtaking during the whole race outside of pit stops. Where you qualify can make or break your race weekend. How many moments have we had in the last couple of years, whether it's Alonso almost claiming P1 in 2022, the start of Ricciardo's redemption in 2019, or Charles's one pole position and 2 sadness speed runs? These show that Monaco still has something to offer outside of race day. So instead of doing the one boring thing that no one likes, why not do the one thing that everyone seems to enjoy? Why not scrap the race and do something fitting of the occasion? Imagine this. Friday morning, you have standard practice, the only one for the weekend. Well, actually, that's not that exciting. Friday afternoon, all 20 drivers have been sorted into pools based on where they currently sit in the championship. Like a World Cup, they race against each other head to head. So the groups will look like this. The drivers then proceed to race against each other for 10 laps. Now you might be asking, what's that going to fix? The driver that leads into the first corner is just going to go on to win the race. But this is where my next change comes into it. Instead of lining up next to each other on the grid, we're instead going to have to change it to 2 different starting points, like a velodrome you see in the cycling at the Olympics. So the race is based on pure speed. 2 start points will be set up roughly here and here. Just imagine old teammates like Carlos and Lando getting to go as fast as they can for 10 laps, getting consistent updates from their team, and fans getting a visual of that gap every time they come round. The race would end after 10 laps, or until someone does this. And between all that racing, we'd have the next crown jewel of Monaco. Love it or hate it, celebs are a big part of F1, especially when it comes to the Monaco race weekend. And in this race setting, how entertaining would it be if you could go to Ted Kravitz, who was talking to drivers after they just finished their race in the pit lane? Or Martin Brundle hanging out on a yacht with a bunch of young A-list Hollywood celebrities that he's never heard of? Or have Danica Patrick try and explain that lizard people actually run the world to the Monaco royal family? It works out commercially as well, as you end up with a 3-day race festival as opposed to everyone tuning out after the first corner. Sunday will be the business end of the tournament. The top 2 drivers from each pool go into the quarterfinals to race off for the main honours, while the 3rd place getters in each pool go into a plate to fight off for the last 2 points positions. Also, all the racing is going to be extended to 15 laps. Imagine the excitement of getting up on a Sunday morning, knowing you have a whole day of F1 action in front of you. You're going to see Lewis taking on his Mercedes apprentice in Antonelli. You might be seeing if Albon could actually beat a Ferrari heads up, or watching Max and Lando duke it out to see who can take on Piastri in the final. Now, I'm a realist. I appreciate that there's probably not a lifetime that I'm alive where we'd see this actually happen. But I do think it checks all the boxes of having to race in Monaco. It would be commercially successful, and it would actually be watchable. I'd love to know what you think though. Let me know in the comments, would this actually work? Or what would you change or improve to make it more plausible? So what have we learned? We've learned that Monaco could actually be one of the best tracks on the calendar if the FIA grew some balls and made some changes. We learned Martin Brundle is the Love Island host we never knew we needed. And we learned that this headline can't come soon enough.